The Fox and the Grapes. In a lush forest, a cunning fox named Felix lived a life of mischief and adventure. One sunny afternoon, while exploring the woods, Felix stumbled upon a beautiful vineyard. The juicy grapes hung tantalizingly from the vines, enticing Felix's taste buds. Felix's eyes grew wide with desire as he gazed at the ripe grapes. He had never tasted such delicious-looking fruit before. His mouth watering, Felix decided that he must have those grapes. Determined to satisfy his craving, Felix attempted to reach the grapes. He jumped and stretched, but the vines remained just out of his grasp. Undeterred, Felix tried again and again, each failure fueling his frustration. As the sun began to set, Felix realized that his efforts were in vain. The grapes seemed inaccessible, and his thirst for them only intensified. Feeling embarrassed and defeated, Felix concocted a clever excuse to soothe his wounded pride. "Those grapes are probably sour anyway," Felix said to himself, trying to convince himself that he didn't really want them. "I'm sure they're not as juicy as they look. Who needs grapes when there are plenty of other delicious berries in the forest?" Felix repeated this mantra to himself, almost believing his own words. He turned away from the vineyard, pretending that he had never truly desired the grapes. As Felix wandered through the forest, he encountered his friend, a wise old owl named Alwyn. Alwyn noticed Felix's discontent and asked what troubled him. Felix shared his tale of woe, exaggerating his disinterest in the grapes. Alwyn listened attentively, her piercing gaze seeing through Felix's deception. "Felix, my dear fox," Alwyn said gently, "you can't fool yourself or others. Your disappointment is palpable. It's okay to admit defeat and acknowledge your desires." Felix looked at Alwyn, his pride wounded, but his curiosity piqued. "Why do you say that, Alwyn?" "Because, Felix," Alwyn replied, "true strength lies not in pretending we don't want something, but in accepting our limitations and desires. The grapes may be out of reach, but that doesn't diminish their appeal. Acknowledge your disappointment and move on. There's more to life than just one vineyard." Felix pondered Alwyn's words, realizing the wisdom behind them. He returned to the vineyard, this time admiring the grapes from a distance. "Those grapes do look delicious," Felix admitted to himself, "and I truly wish I could taste them. But I'll find other delights in the forest, and maybe one day I'll discover a way to reach those grapes." From that day on, Felix carried Alwyn's lesson with him, embracing his desires and limitations. He explored the forest with renewed curiosity, discovering hidden treasures and forming meaningful connections with his fellow creatures. Moral of the story, acknowledge your desires and limitations.
The Kingdom of Willowbrook. Once upon a time, in a lush, green valley surrounded by towering mountains, there was a small kingdom called Willowbrook. This kingdom was not ruled by a king or queen, but by a spirited little girl named Elara. At just 8 years old, Elara had a heart full of dreams and a mind brimming with imagination. Elara lived in a cozy cottage at the edge of the enchanted whispering woods, where the trees seemed to talk and the flowers danced in the breeze. Every day after her lessons with the village elder, she would venture into the woods, where she believed magic was alive. Her best friends were the woodland creatures, a wise old owl named Oliver, a playful squirrel named Squeak, and a gentle deer named Luna. One sunny afternoon, while exploring a hidden glade, Elara stumbled upon a sparkling stream that she had never seen before. As she knelt down to take a closer look, she noticed something shimmering beneath the water. Curiosity piqued, she reached in and pulled out a beautiful, iridescent stone. The moment she held it in her hand, the air around her shimmered, and a soft voice echoed, "You have awakened the magic of Willowbrook." Startled but intrigued, Elara looked around. Suddenly the trees began to sway, and the flowers bloomed brighter than ever. The voice continued, "You are the chosen one, Elara. With this stone you can bring joy and prosperity to your kingdom, but you must use its power wisely." Excited by the possibilities, Elara rushed back to her village. She gathered the townsfolk and shared her discovery. With the stone's magic, she helped the farmers grow bountiful crops, healed the sick, and even brought laughter to the children by creating a playground filled with swings made of clouds and slides made of clouds and slides made of rainbows. However, as time passed, Elara noticed that the stone's magic was beginning to fade. The once vibrant colours of the flowers started to dull, and the laughter of the children grew quieter. Worried, she sought the wisdom of Oliver the owl. "The magic of the stone is tied to the happiness of the kingdom," he explained. "You must find a way to share the joy, not just keep it for yourself." Determined to restore the magic, Elara devised a plan. She organised a grand festival, inviting everyone from the kingdom to come together and celebrate. They danced, sang, and shared stories around a massive bonfire. Elara encouraged everyone to contribute their talents, whether it was baking delicious treats, crafting beautiful decorations, or performing music. As the festival reached its peak, Elara took the iridescent stone and placed it at the centre of the gathering. She spoke from her heart, reminding everyone of the importance of community, kindness, and sharing joy. As the villagers joined hands and sang together, a brilliant light enveloped the stone, and its magic surged back to life. The flowers bloomed brighter than ever, the laughter of children echoed through the valley, and the kingdom of Willowbrook thrived once more. Elara learned that true magic comes not from a stone, but from the love and unity of her people. From that day on, Elara continued to lead her kingdom with compassion and creativity, always remembering that the greatest treasures are the friendships and memories we create together. And so, the little girl with her kingdom lived happily ever after, surrounded by the magic of love and laughter.
Driving down the highway late at night, fatigue started to creep in, so I decided to take the next off-ramp for a quick break. The exit led to an empty road surrounded by fields with no signs of life. I pulled over, stepped out of my truck, and lit a cigarette, savoring the silence. As I exhaled, I heard a faint giggle, followed by a little girl's voice. "Hi, mister." My heart skipped a beat. What was a child doing out here at this hour? I looked around but saw no one. Before I could react, she spoke again. "My mommy says you'll be okay, don't worry." Confused and uneasy, I asked, "Where are you?" But there was no response, just an eerie silence that settled around me. A strange sensation washed over me, like someone was standing right next to me. It wasn't threatening, but it made my skin crawl. I quickly finished my cigarette and decided it was time to leave. Back on the road, I tried to shake off the unsettling encounter, but my troubles weren't over. The low fuel light on my dashboard flickered on, and I realized I'd forgotten to refuel earlier. Panic set in as the needle dipped closer to empty. I scrambled to find the nearest truck stop on my GPS and prayed I could make it. The truck sputtered and choked as I approached the truck stop, barely making it to the pump before it died. Relief washed over me as I stepped out to refuel, but then I saw her, the same little girl from the off-ramp. She stood at the corner of the truck stop, giggling softly, her figure almost blending into the shadows. A cold chill ran down my spine. Was she real? A ghost? Her words echoed in my mind. "You'll be okay, don't worry." But I couldn't shake the feeling that she was watching me, or perhaps warning me. I hurriedly filled the tank and jumped back into the truck. As I sped away, the highway felt safer. but I couldn't forget that eerie encounter. I glanced in the rearview mirror, half expecting to see her again, and knew one thing for sure. I wouldn't be stopping on any more deserted off-ramps anytime soon.
The Curse of the Haunted Pumpkin. In the small town of Pumpkinville, a legend spoke of a pumpkin patch that came alive at night. The pumpkins would whisper to each other, and anyone who listened would be cursed with a frightful dream. 4 friends, Tim, Mia, Emma, and Ben, decided to explore the patch on Halloween night. As they wandered deeper, the pumpkins seemed to shift and twist, their faces glowing in the moonlight. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew, and the pumpkins began to whisper. The friends tried to run, but their feet felt rooted. The whispers grew louder, and they felt a chill creep up their spines. One by one, the friends started to dream. Tim dreamed of spiders crawling under his skin. Mia dreamed of being lost in a dark forest. Emma dreamed of a ghostly figure chasing her. Ben dreamed of falling into a bottomless pit. The friends woke up, gasping for breath, and realized they had to escape the patch. But as they turned to leave, they saw the pumpkins had formed a circle around them. In the center of the circle stood an enormous pumpkin, its face twisted into a wicked grin. The friends froze, paralyzed with fear. Just as the pumpkin began to speak, the sun rose, and the curse was broken. The pumpkins returned to their natural state, and the friends ran out of the patch, never to return. From that day on, the legend grew, and kids whispered about the haunted pumpkin patch. But the 4 friends knew the truth. Some secrets are better left unspoken.